What is a Cybertruck doing here? Maybe they're comparing it to the R1T, I don't know. Or he's maybe picking up a R1S. What's going on, everyone? My name is Sherwin. Do I even have to introduce this guy? Because if you're subscribed to me, you better be subscribed to Mr. Kobra right here. But we are in his Cybertruck studios. He is joining me for an EV Confessions episode. So how's it going?
Well, we're in the Cybertruck, but where are we? Where are we right now? And I'll tell you how it's going. We're at the service center right now.
We are at the service center, the same service center I go to in my other videos with my Model X, but he's in the service center because of this Cybertruck. So if you've been following him on his adventures with the Cybertruck, it's back again for the same reason, right?
Same reason. Last week I had an issue. The screen was unresponsive, and I took it in 4th of July weekend, got it out, and everything's working smoothly. And then I was coming to meet this guy for an interview, and I had to text him like, hey, you know, I'm having the same issues. I'm not flaking on you. I'm having the same issues. So I told him I was coming to the service center. He met up with me, which is real cool. And we got to get this done for y'all. We're doing this for y'all.
What do you do for a living?
Me, I'm an educator. I'm a team leader. I work for the program specialist for this school district. So that's it.
So I've been watching a couple of videos, but I want him to tell you a little bit about how he got into an EV. I think your first EV was a Chevy Volt or Bolt?
Bolt with a B, full electric. The Volt is dual. It was the first gas
hybrid,
and
plug-in hybrid,
yeah.
right?
So it was the first one, but I went with the Bolt. I got it in 2017, a month before the Model 3s were actually delivered. Tesla wasn't on my radar at that time. But I did some research, and the Bolt seems like the best entry level. If you're gonna, it's like the gateway into electric. Even though it was fully electric, it was it felt more traditional at the time, so it's a little more comfortable, easier for people to get into electric vehicles at that time. So I started with the Bolt, and there was not much information about the Model 3 at that time, so I didn't really know, you know. So I started with the Bolt. Then 2019 came around, and the unveiling of the Cybertruck. And that's when I was like, oh, Tesla's doing some things, right? And I started doing research on Tesla. I'm like, okay, so it's on my radar now. And then 2020, I decided, let's get a Tesla. I had a 8-seater Nissan Armada, and I needed a big car. So I went with the Model X 7-seater. It's not as roomy as the 8-seater Armada, but 7 seats was the biggest EV we can get at the time. And then I got a 2020 Model 3. Then sold that, got a 2023 Model Y. And then a few months later, they said, your Cybertruck's ready. And I said, I'm ready. And I've waited 4.5 years to get the Cybertruck.
So you've had 4 Teslas? 5?
4 Teslas.
4 Teslas.
This is the 4th one.
Nice, nice. So we're in a similar boat coming from larger gas vehicles. You had the Armada, we had minivans, and our only option if we want to continue to go with electric is the Model X, at least at that time. And so you're also having some issues with it. I'm having issues with it, but we love it. And right now we are in your Cybertruck and you're having issues. I feel for this guy, because I was telling him, like, I went through this with my Model X. I went through a buyback. So look, man, whatever you need from me, if you need me to be there, I'll roll with you. We could go to lunch and stuff.
Showed up today, man. Came in the clutch because I showed up. They didn't have any loaners, and I'm like, oh man. I said I'll stick around in the lounge. He was like, let's go get lunch. I'll swoop you up, and yeah, he sure did. He came through, man. Like we've been talking about, our Model 3s and Ys have been pretty solid. No issues. But the X's, my X's have issues. On the Cybertruck, and it's hard for people to understand that, you know, even though they're giving you trouble, how can you still love them? It's more to it, you know what I mean? You're invested in it. They're great vehicles, but I was telling him on the way here, I was getting to my breaking point with the Cybertruck. I was feeling it a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was thinking, man, is it worth all this? Because I've had it for 4 months, a little over 4 months, and I've been in and out of the service center. Actually today they were like, you've brought this in a lot. I said, yeah, I'm getting tired of it. You know, just to be honest, I'm getting tired of it. And hopefully this is the last time. And honestly, I don't know. I was dabbling, man. I was thinking about that Silverado EV.
That RST is nice.
Yeah, and,
like 400 miles.
And I love the Rivian too, the R1T. So I don't know, but it's just you know, everybody has their breaking point. So we'll see what happens.
But regardless, you want to get another electric truck.
Oh yeah, EV's the way to go for us. Haven't been to the gas station, and that's probably the best part. You know, of course the no to low maintenance is great, but just being just wasting time going to the gas station and just plugging it in at home. I know some people talk about how easy it is because you can just fill up your gas in 5 minutes. But for the most part, for day to day, if you just go home and plug it in, you're good to go every day, you know? So that's the best part about having an EV.
It's like you wake up and you're good to go.
That's it.
Yeah.
No issues. Brakes last longer. I was telling him how I would get up at 7 a.m. to go take my other cars in to get oil changes, to be the first one there.
Don't remind me.
So, you know, dealing with all those issues. And that's why I actually started with that Chevy Bolt first, just because I wanted to see if I can, you know, live the life of an EV owner. And I leased it for 3 years. And at the end of that 3 years, I'm like, all right, I'm EV all the way now.
So your first Tesla was the Model X.
Model X.
Then Model 3. Then Model Y. And then the Cybertruck.
Then the Cybertruck. And, you know, with all the issues I've had with my X and my Cybertruck.
You're a veteran.
I'm a veteran. I've driven the Model S's, the Plaids, the Plaid Model X, the older 2017 Model S, Model X. So I've driven pretty much every Tesla except for the Roadster, you know, the OG. But so I'm pretty familiar with Teslas. And when I recommend vehicles to people, I recommend they get an EV. But the certain things about Tesla, and I know they've opened up the superchargers to, you know, other manufacturers, but it's just something about Tesla that I really do appreciate. I'm a tech guy. You know, we both kind of started off this YouTube journey in tech. It's the most technologically advanced vehicle, and you know that plays on my heartstrings a little bit.
Right. So if you had to pick one thing, just one thing that you love about EV ownership, it doesn't have to be Tesla, it doesn't have to be the Chevy Bolt, just in general, what would be that one thing?
It's the convenience and low maintenance. That's the one thing. Convenience of charging. I have solar panels, so my electricity bill didn't go so, and I have batteries, so my electricity bill isn't much higher. And it's just the convenience of having it. I wasn't really a car guy into like fixing cars and things of that nature, so I don't care. I don't miss that. My father-in-law has a Hyundai Kona EV, and he misses tinkering with the engine and things like that. So he said he's kind of bored with it. But for me, I just want to pick up, go, accelerate, you know, things like that. Just use it for personally.
All right, now on the opposite side of the spectrum, what is one thing, and I probably could guess, but what is the one thing you don't like about the EV ownership?
Well, just EVs in general, different because, you know, with my Cybertruck, obviously the issues it's had, but EV ownership, I would say the worst part is, well, that's a good question. There's a few things that, with that instant torque, sometimes I get a little nauseous. You know, I don't know if you've ever felt that.
Yeah.
So that kind of bothers me sometimes. I got to kind of mind how I drive it. But overall, that's kind of tough. That's probably one of the worst things. That's probably one of the worst things for me. Kind of like being on a roller coaster after a little while, you know. EVs, that's probably it, you know. But personally, with the Cybertruck and the Model X, the issues we've had, you know. But that could be any vehicle.
It could be, yeah.
That's not EV specific, you know.
Yeah.
What about you? What's the worst part about EVs?
I've done these videos, and I sometimes think about these questions if it were like how you just asked me, and maybe it's just because it happened more recently. My Model Y renewal came in, and it's like 800 something. Now we have our Model X Plaid, so I think last year we were pushing around 1,200 for that renewal. So it's up there, but again, when you go back to like looking at convenience, I mean, we're looking at a year's worth of renewals. So if you look at a year's worth of the convenience, a year's worth of the gas savings, now, and people will argue about that, the gas savings. If you don't drive enough, you're not gonna save money. You might as well
Right.
drive a hybrid. But
Right.
if you love to drive, if you drive a lot, you're gonna get that savings a lot quicker. So I guess it's kind of it evens out, but just seeing that bill at one shot,
Mm-hmm.
like, man,
No, you're right. That
yeah,
hurts, man. When you have multiple,
I got 3 EVs.
Exactly.
You know, I heard renewals for trucks are a little different by weight. Is that true?
It is true. It's different. And actually, if you talk, well, California,
Okay.
right? I talked to the DMV and they actually hooked me up where they aligned it to where I won't get charged as much. You know what I mean? And
Because of this, right?
Yeah, if you Google search it, you'll find out how to save money on registration. But yeah,
Is
it's
it
a
something
different.
like the weight and it becomes a commercial class or
Yeah,
something like
so when you get a truck in California, it'll already come out as commercial. So your license will say it, your
that?
registration will say
Oh
it,
man.
your license plate will say it, and you have to talk to them, and they have to. I can't really remember how they configured it.
Well,
but
we'll
they put
talk
it in a
more.
different
We'll talk.
class. They put it in a
Okay.
different class for me, and I did actually see that on Reddit before, and I
Okay.
didn't think about it, but I did address it when I went and got my license plate. So
Ah.
yeah, it
Okay.
is.
Because it's my first truck, so
So
my R1T.
nothing's come up with wrong with
No,
it
it's
yet?
only like 4 months, 5 months old. So
Have you looked on your registration card?
no, man.
Check it out. See if it says commercial on there.
Okay, I'm gonna take a look.
Check it out.
But yeah, I mean that's the only thing really. But after you pay it off, it's like, oh, this thing is so much fun.
Until next year.
Until next.
So, when you talk to people who are ICE vehicle drivers, right? They always have reservations about getting an EV. The number one is road trips. So I talk to those people and say, how often do you take road trips, right? And they share. And if they don't take it as frequently as they think they do, then it's not an issue.
Right.
But honestly, with superchargers, all right. So I've used other charging stations out there.
So
and
have I.
They're hit and miss, right? They're hit and miss. But with the superchargers, man, it's nice to be able to get out, stretch your legs, get a beverage,
Right.
you know what I mean, come back. And a lot of times it's ready to go before you're even done doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
So that's not a problem really. It's a different way of thinking, but it's definitely not bad. It's not as bad as people make it out to be.
No.
And another issue is the long charging times people are concerned with, right?
Yeah.
And again, if you charge it at night, every night, I don't charge it every night.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I have to because I got to drive to LA.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
And having multiple vehicles, you have to monitor which one am I going to charge now,
Yeah.
or which one am I going to use tomorrow. You know, so it is a little more thinking with that. But to me, that's not a problem either.
Yeah.
You know, what other issues have people brought up? Why they won't convert?
I think they're into their gas cars, and I don't know. It's just one of those things where if you haven't tried it, how can you say you
Right.
don't like it?
It's the unknown.
Yeah, I mean, I was in that position before. Like we were talking, and I'm like, people like Tesla Joy and I Won Tesla and a couple other YouTubers from way back then, when I was looking into my first EV. I guess boosted up my confidence into like, you know what, let's just get it done and over with. And if it doesn't work out, it's not like I have to keep it forever.
Right.
I mean, I'll probably take an L, a couple of $1,000, but at least I tried it.
Right.
At least I tried it. But Model 3 was like that gateway drug where it's like, man, never going back, never going back. I just wish they made electric vans, man.
It'll come. It'll come. It's gonna be a big seller.
Yeah.
That's why I leased initially to just see.
Did you
like,
lease this?
No, I didn't. Just my Bolt.
Okay.
But I tell people if don't test drive a Tesla unless you're ready to buy it, you know, because you'll be hooked immediately once you drive it. At least from the people I've spoken to and how we felt, they got you hooked, man. Then the safety factor as well. You know,
the safety's incredible.
it is, and 5-star and this and that, you know, and that sold us on these. But I know I'm heavy on Tesla, but I have driven other EVs, and I would definitely recommend somebody trying out EV. If you haven't tried it, if you're watching the channel, you probably have an EV or you're thinking about it. Go for it. You know.
Yeah, just you can't go wrong. I mean, the main differences between them is like software and availability of charging networks.
Right.
Is really everything else. I mean, is just an EV.
Right.
They all work similarly. So if you do just the research and just prepare yourself, I think it's easier owning an EV than a gas car.
Oh yeah.
I think it's fair for us to say that because we've driven gas cars, unlike other people who've never driven an EV. How can you say things about an EV when you've only driven gas cars?
Right.
Where people who own EVs, we came from gas cars, so I don't get it, but you know.
And it won't work for everyone. If you don't
No.
have a place, a home where you can charge it, you know, like if you live somewhere where you don't have access to, you know, high power 240 charging or fast charging, then no, it's probably not the best thing for you, you know.
Yeah, or if you're in the city and the superchargers are always busy.
So my buddy has a charger at work that he uses primarily.
Oh, lucky.
Primarily, he doesn't even charge it at home. He charges at work
For free.
For free. And I wonder how long that'll last, but take advantage of it now, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it depends on your situation. It's not for everybody, but if you can make it work, try to make it work and see. You know, I think you guys will enjoy it.
All right, so this question gets people when I ask. But if you had unlimited budget, no budget at all, and you're gonna get a next car, it doesn't have to be an EV. It could be anything. What would that be?
All right, so my unlimited budget is only for that vehicle, or I have unlimited money forever.
For just that.
Oh, okay.
You have to buy. You have to buy
gas, and I still got to pay for my maintenance, right?
Oh man, you made this question.
Because it matters. It matters, right? But I have a couple cars on my wish list.
Okay.
A 97 Dodge Viper. Always
Okay.
love that. I know I've actually looked them up recently. Like
See,
just
that's specific. Even the year, not just Dodge Viper, but the 97 Dodge Viper.
But honestly, I wouldn't want to deal with, you know, repairs and things like that. And a DeLorean. I've always loved DeLoreans. Obviously, I like the Cybertruck because I was a big Back to the Future fan. So I love the stainless steel look. I love how unique it is. I would love to have one. I've always talked about getting one. I know they're coming out with a new electric
The electric
version,
one, yeah.
but it's like $200K or something crazy, and it doesn't
Bro,
look.
that's
like
two
the old ones.
Cybertrucks.
It is. It doesn't look like, you know, the old DeLorean that I fell in love with. So if I can get one of those vehicles in
Like
tip-top shape,
restored and-
yeah, tip-top shape. But as far as an EV, you know what I really like, and this is like my don't need, just want to have it, and I'm gonna test it out. I really like that Hummer EV, man. I know it's not efficient. I know there's no point of even having it, but it's something about, maybe it's how obnoxious it is. I don't know what it is, but I want to test that out. And my buddy test drove it, and he said, you know, it didn't feel as nice on the inside as you would think.
Really?
So he said, I'm going to get my Cybertruck, and I don't know. It's something about that intrigues me.
I've seen it in person. I haven't gone inside. I've seen the doors open. Interior looks pretty cool. I think there's like a gun safe in the back,
man.
or there's like a compartment. I think I saw it in one of the EV, like the EV Fest I went to,
Okay.
but I never gone in there. And they're pretty big. They're pretty big. One of my friend's neighbor has one, but I think it's a 200 kilowatt battery.
And just because it's so big, so heavy, and the range isn't that high, it's just that.
It's like the gas version.
Right. And it's my guilty pleasure. I don't know. I told my
Why
wife.
not?
Because it makes no sense. But still, unlimited money, you start thinking about Lamborghinis and supercars and stuff like that. But I still would like something. I think it would be like something along those lines. What about you?
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. So I may have shared this in a previous video, but one of my dream cars before was a Ferrari. I think it was a 355 Spider.
Oh, okay.
But when I got my Model 3, and it was just the long range, whatever I was searching for in that Ferrari, I got it from that Model 3. So whether it be maybe just that instant torque, like I was satisfied. Like I was like, man, I don't want that anymore. One of my friends that did this interview with me was saying, why would I want an expensive car when I just have to go get gas at Shell? And I'm like, Yeah, I don't know. Like you have a Lamborghini and you're at Costco gas. And I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
that. I'm not knocking Lamborghini owners who get gas at
You gotta
Costco.
get
You
gas.
gotta get gas. I'm not knocking it, but there's just something to it. I don't know.
You know what's a nice luxurious EV? That BMW i7
I
7
saw
Series.
that in Las Vegas. It looks nice.
That is nice.
The interior is, man, I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
drive that thing. I just want to be a passenger on
Right,
that thing.
right. That might be on the
Yeah,
list. That might be on the list. Something that,
yeah.
because they're like they can get up to like 180. I think. I
What?
think so.
Wow.
I think so. So those are cool.
The other thing too, I saw an out of spec video where they went to Vegas with the family vans or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
That Mercedes EQS. The interior looks nice.
I don't like
Interior.
the exterior though.
Yeah, it looks kind of weird, but the interior massage. I've never had a massaging chair. I don't think I would mind it. And then the ambient light. You have the ambient light. I don't have any ambient lights.
It's on pink right now. I'm feeling the pink.
But I don't know. Like, what's great is I could now see outside of Tesla
Right.
because of the options.
Right.
Now the charging network may not be as good, but you could just see that it seems like other companies are improving on their EV options.
So do you have an iPhone or an Android?
I have both. I
Okay,
carry two
okay.
phones. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, you know. I would say Tesla is kind of like the iPhone, the
Yeah.
Apple product.
That ecosystem.
Right, but the other EVs are like Android, the variety out there, and they throw so many different features, creature comforts at them, which kind of brings it on a level playing field. You know what I mean? That's what I love about my Android, that they have everything. They throw everything at it. Samsung does that, you know, all the other manufacturers. So it's kind of nice seeing that, you know, we may not have the tightly knit ecosystem. We might not have, you know, all the superchargers, but we have this. We have the massaging
chair.
We have all these other features. So that's how I feel about it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice to dabble, you know, try different things.
Yeah. How are you feeling about this truck, man?
So last week when it shut down on me, I started feeling really down. Today, I felt really, really down. If it happens again, and I know I keep giving it chances, but what do? You don't want to overreact either, you know? I've been waiting 4.5 years for it. Overall, it's been amazing. You know, I really appreciate the boys I have 3 sons. They have so much space in here. And there's things that, of course, like any vehicle, that I would want to see changed or improved upon. And a lot of those things can come with, like, you know, you talk to aftermarket accessory companies, they can do different things. But I don't know, man. It just gets really frustrating having so many issues. And they've been great. But the problem is, after the warranty's up,
Yeah.
then what happens, you know?
Right.
As I was picking this one up, I don't know if you saw the other Cybertruck.
There was another Cybertruck in there, yeah.
He was having issues with the tonneau, right? He said that I think they call them sail panels on the sides. They were coming up, lifting up, and then his rubber sealing was coming off.
Someone was also having issues with the seals. Yeah.
So I repaired mine myself.
Okay.
I know some people.
Oh, so you were having issues?
A little bit. It started to detach, and all I did was add double-sided tape because that's what's holding it up anyway. But you think about it, with the heat,
Yeah.
that adhesive.
California got different heat, man.
Yeah, so I know some people are like, oh, you're fixing it yourself. You pay $100K, but sometimes it's like, come on,
You got DIY sometimes, man.
Sometimes you have to, instead of making a whole new ticket.
Yeah.
But things like that, a certain number of things, after a while, you're like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. And I'm not there yet, but man, just being real,
Yeah.
I'm already thinking about my thumbnail, man. Have a giant lemon behind my Cybertruck. Like, it's a lemon, it's going back.
I did that for my Model X. I put a little lemon tree or something like that.
It is what it is, man. If it worked smoothly, I wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Every time I get near one, every time I'm in one, it's growing on me, but I still like my R1T. But I have options. I only did a 3-year lease, so who knows what happens, you know, in the next couple of years. Maybe they'll improve the quality on the Cybertruck. Maybe the looks will grow onto me more. Maybe there's a new R1T that I'll just get another one. But like you're saying, the next you gotta have a truck.
Right.
You gotta have a truck. So,
So let me ask you, I saw your last video. Your configuration email came up.
yes.
What made you reserve it in the first place? Well, I'm supposed to be interviewed here. Right?
Hold on. That, you know.
Confessions. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it is a confession. I really was not interested in it, but I think it's just, it was $100.
Mm-hmm.
It was refundable. And I knew a couple of friends who ordered it day one, and they still didn't pick up their trucks, because that 20K, bro. I mean, honestly, that's wild right there. It is. And in that video, I mentioned I got bitten on my Model Y, but yeah, that's what it was. It's just, I don't know if it was peer pressure, but okay, well, since you ordered one, it's $100.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, like, who knew when it was coming out,
Right.
right? And then I think at that time, Rivian was barely coming out with their trucks, and I wasn't trusting that brand, simply because they just didn't have the product out yet.
Mm-hmm.
So right now they're like 2 or 3 years in with their R1S and R1T, and more products coming out.
More refined.
Yeah, and then they have a dealership that opened up nearby, so I'm not a stranger to service center from Tesla, so I was ready for that with Rivian. But to go back to your question, I mean, I think it was just everyone else is doing it, so it's only $100.
Right.
Now, what if it didn't have the foundation price? I got a 3-year lease, so I'm in that contract. If I didn't have the Rivian and it was just the regular price, yeah, I probably would have jumped on it. I would have jumped on it. Because, dude, the rear wheel steering. So you have a couple of Teslas. Is the turn radius much improved in the Cybertruck compared to your Model X? Is pretty bad too.
So what I would say is, for the size of this vehicle,
okay,
the turn radius is nice.
And this is longer than the X, right? It should be. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Have you driven this yet?
No.
Oh, you're gonna drive it today then? That's
cool.
Yeah.
Damn.
So you can compare it, like, because I had the Rivian R1T for 3 days.
Yeah.
And the biggest difference of the Cybertruck and any other vehicle, even more than the rear, I have a hard time saying that, rear wheel steering, is the steer-by-wire. 100%, because when you're turning, and this might be petty, some people might say, come on, it's not a big deal. When you're hand over hand, when you're turning, and then you try this out, you're like, oh my goodness, like, what a huge difference.
See, that's what I might be looking for, that steer-by-wire after I test drive, man. Like,
but you know, I go back and forth from this and the X,
yeah.
and I give the X a hard time. I give it a hard time. I'm like, oh my goodness, what, are we done yet? No.
You're driving a Cadillac with that.
For real. But it is noticeable, man. I want to hear your impression too when you check it out.
All right.
It is nice, and the rear wheel steering is at a slower speed is really noticeable. You know what I mean? Because when you're going over, it feels like over 15 miles per hour, they don't even move, right?
Okay.
So only in slow, you can almost make a 90-degree turn. Like if you're at a standstill and you just flip it around. Pretty close. You'll see. But
yeah, because usually with my Y and my X, when I got to make a U-turn, I kind of go a little bit more forward, so that when I make that U-turn, that left will go into the that adjacent area,
right?
So I have room. But the problem is, if someone's behind me, following me on that U-turn, they may think I'm making a left turn instead of a U-turn.
Right.
But it's almost necessary, otherwise you're gonna have to do a 3-point U-turn.
Right.
You know?
And it's still a big vehicle, still a long vehicle. So in some instances, like the Model Y might be able to make a U-turn about the same. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, but in areas where you wouldn't expect this to make the U-turn, it does, you know.
Oh.
And one of the things, so talking about that Foundation series, I thought about the same thing. I was like, am I going to spend an extra $20K? And they try to sweeten it with FSD, and that could be a whole nother video talking about that, right? And how I feel about that, even though I reserved it at $7,000. And the accessories that they give you, kind of boo-boo, right? The power share, I have Powerwall batteries anyway, so I don't really need it. But it was more so of, I can get it now. Honestly, between us, I can get it now. And I've been waiting so long. And we know patience is hard to have. And I was ready for it. But it is a hard pill to swallow because when the 80K version comes out, and I'm hoping, I might sound like a hater, but I hope when the 80,000 version come out, they take away a lot of the cool things to make us feel good. You know what I mean? To make it, I don't know, the wheels are going to be different, the tires, but you'll have more range. But some people in the forums talked about they might downgrade the audio. They might, and this is all speculation.
Yeah, yeah.
But they want us to feel like we didn't get taken advantage of either.
But you got the badge, bro. You got the badge.
That's true. So, you know, it was a tough decision, and who knows how long it will take to get the, you know, non-foundation series.
I'm a little bit more patient now, because of the, I got my Y at an all-time high, and man, it's kind of depressing, but I'm not gonna sell it anyway, so I'm not even gonna worry about, because I still love my Y.
Right.
Whenever I need to just have something more nimble, I go on there. I have a Plaid, but it's an X. It's a bigger vehicle, so it's not as nimble. I'm not gonna say it's not fun. It's fun, but I think I have more fun with the Y being of its size and its performance.
Right.
So I will miss that if I have to give it up. I do have a R2 reservation, and I am planning on trading in the Y for that, unless there's some things that isn't there. Then I'm getting Juniper.
Man, you about to convert, man. You'll be all Rivian to watch.
Nah, my wife won't give up the X. She won't give up the. It's like if I have to give up the X, I'll just get a Y. So she's all Tesla.
Now the R2 looks cool though.
Yeah,
it does look cool. Juniper is gonna be a huge seller.
Dude, I'm excited for all I'm after is ventilated seats, man.
Right.
That's all I'm after, man.
Dang.
You know?
And just the look of it. When have you seen the Highlands?
Yeah, they let me test drive. They let me test drive it. It's a lot better than how I remember my Model 3.
Right.
Yeah. So.
But that Y watch, oh man, it's gonna kill. They don't want to talk about it now because they don't want to.
They don't want to mess up their sales.
Yeah,
man.
sever their sales right now.
Yeah.
But no, man, that's cool.
Well, that's it for this video. I would love to thank you for spending some time with me on this and sharing your experience owning Teslas, owning the Chevy Bolt, and just, man, we are here at the service. It's our second home, right?
It is. It is home away from home. Man.
They know us by our first name basis.
First name, our non-YouTube names.
Oh man, well, thank you for watching. If you still haven't subscribed to this guy, what are you doing? I got the links in the description below. Go subscribe to his channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right, y'all.